We have been running a production company for over 6 years now. When you run a production company, you of course need clients to get money. To get clients, of course, you need to deliver good products and services. But another thing is that you need to build your brand so clients and new people remember you.
Visual identity is a very important way to make your company stand out and really show who you are.
Right now, there's not much very memorable in our branding or our website.
Be a bit more bold and take some more space.
I think that needs to change.
And we're going to share with you in this video how we did it, why it's important, and why you should do it as well. Welcome to a new episode of Making a Film Company. So we had clients coming back to us and the business went well. So I was kind of, do we need to do anything? I think we have a good looking homepage. We have a nice logo. First, I didn't see the reason why we should change our brand.
It took some time convincing Anders that doing a redesign is something that we should do and spend money on. You know, Anders is old and old people, they don't like change.
I think a lot of things have changed since VJUS started, and I think that it was time for a fresh new look to go along with that.
I'm looking at different products and I started to see more and more, like, you realize that so many things have like a thought through design. I'm very used to this brand. So when I see this yellow color, for instance, I think about them. And also the font, Lano. Why did they choose the green, the blue? Why did they choose, like there's 1, 2, 3 different fonts? Why did they go for black? Was it just, yeah, we like black? Or is it actually a purpose behind it? Like suddenly you have this horror font. Like why? How would a design company look at us? Like what kind of colors would they see? I got really curious about this. Maybe we should do this. If the agencies think about us quite quickly, and maybe they're in a meeting, oh, we need someone to produce this. And they see a specific color on the wall, and like, I think about VJUS when I see this. Yeah, they convinced me.
So after deciding that we did in fact want to go through with the rebrand, we realized that we did need some help.
I had walked past this design studio quite a lot of times throughout the years because they had a street front office, and I looked in there and they had like these huge plants. So when we were thinking about a design studio, that was the first one that came to my mind. And then we had a talk with them and I felt like we had really good chemistry.
In the first meeting we had with the design company, I was like, yes, now I understand why you should do this.
I'm Matilda. I'm a graphic designer working in Målberger, and I was a part of the team that created the new visual identity for VJUS. This world where there's a lot of stuff happening, stuff just moves faster and faster, I think it's so important to use design to really stand out and show who you are.
Our old branding consisted of a logo, which we were happy of, but it wasn't much more than that. The colors and fonts were all over the place. We just used whatever we wanted for that project. There wasn't much identity to it.
I think your previous branding was very connected to the name with a viewport, but I think it maybe lacked a bit of like the personalities and all of like the expressiveness and excitement that you have for filmmaking.
So when we sat down and had our very first meeting with Målberger, we didn't talk about any design at all. All we talked about is who are we and how do we see ourselves as a company. We learned that, you know, all different brands and companies can be placed into many different categories. For instance, when you think of brands like Apple or Rolex, you're probably thinking of a more strong, innovative, and leading personality. But when you think of brands like Lego or Disney or Dove, you're probably thinking of more family-friendly, creative, or maybe cozy. And this says something about not just who the brand is, but also who it's for. What type of customers would they like to attract?
So they asked all of us to highlight words like, who are we? What do we want to be? And that was really fun because you start to look at yourself from another perspective. You see the company from outside, and then you realize what's good and what's maybe not so good with your company.
So the words we kind of all agreed on is that we like to explore, we like to be creative and curious, but I think we also like to try to be a little bit bold and do things differently whenever we can.
After the first workshop, we started to explore what all of the values that we discussed in the workshop meant and researched different filmmaking techniques, cameras, tried to find some sort of inspiration we can use as visual cues in identity.
And then they came back to us with 2 totally different ways to go. I was a bit nervous for the meeting because I knew that we had to go for one of them. We had to go for one of the directions.
So we created 2 different directions, that one was more technical and one were more like playful and colorful. The first direction we showed you focused very on the technical side of filmmaking. It was very dark with this bright, almost neon-y green color. We took inspiration from like green rooms and studios, so it's very like black and green. We had a font that had this light traps, which is a way of showing fonts on old screens to make sure the typography looked right. But when you use it bigger, it kind of looks kind of funky and weird, and also had this very technical feel to it that we really liked. And I think the whole concept kind of like developed around the studio, the rooms. So we also played a lot with 3-dimensional, both text to kind of represent the studio and like this room we're in when we're filming. In the other direction, we really wanted to like show more playfulness, love for filmmaking and excitement. So I think the biggest part of this direction were all of the small icons that we animated, and we really wanted all of the small icons to kind of show the different personalities in VJUS and all of the skills and impulses every teammates bring to the team, which really makes VJUS unique. For the icons, we took inspiration from lenses, encounters, and a lot of different kind of film equipment. And we also wanted to add a lot of colors to this direction, but decided to like make all of the text and these icons and the logo black to make the identity easy to use and consistent. And for colors, we took inspiration from the bright tapes you find at the movie production sets, and also screen tests to show colors. When working with font for this direction, we wanted to use font that kind of like looked like this old movie poster kind of feel, which is a bit of a wide font in this kind of style as a movie poster. And for the logo, we took inspirations from this old counters and made a V that kind of like points at a direction like a clock. It gave the logo a lot of direction and movement that we really liked for this direction.
We really like both of these designs, but ultimately we felt like the second option was the best one for us, as we really liked the colors and the symbols.
We all agreed on the same one, which felt good because then we had the same vision for our company.
But there were still a few things we wanted to tweak. First, we weren't too happy about the purple color, so we wanted to tweak it a little bit so it became a bit more pink.
The logo was kind of the main issue with this direction.
VJUS is a word consisting of letters that are quite unflattering when put together, and we've been thinking about this way before we thought about rebranding, that how to make like a cooler logo.
We tried to brainstorm and come up with some ideas to how we could fix this. However, not all ideas are good ideas. So one of the ideas we had is to bring the light traps from the first logo into this second direction. I really liked these light traps and I thought they were so cool. The other idea was having a more hand-drawn logo. And then we also discussed maybe just pulling the letters apart.
We have icons, we have animations, we have the colors. There's a lot of things in the design. Yeah, maybe it's just keeping it simple is better here.
And so we were really curious to see what they could come up with.
So the final identity is a very colorful and expressive and a fun identity. One of the main elements are this icon set. Every icon has their own personality in a way. So since there's a lot of colors and movement and all of the icons in the identity, we wanted to keep the logo pretty strict and calm. We felt the need to change the uppercase to kind of make a stronger visual identity.
But the cool thing was that all the letters were animated. And this really gave a life to the logo, and it really made it stand out. We just loved it.
So Kim, what do you think about the new design?
You know what happened last time I said something?
Bare si at du har bra det.
I really like the new colors and how they complement each other, and especially for June Marie, who does our social media. I feel like it's a great tool for her, because then we have the same colors as the website, so we have kind of this continuity or red thread between all our platforms.
We went through a couple different ideas, but we ended up making these borders for all of our pictures on Instagram, and I think now that we have a lot of photos, I think it looks really cool on our profile, and you kind of get this hint of color here and there, but it's not overpowering and in your face. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and get updated on all the fun projects we work on, and it's a fun time. Come hang out and join us.
One of the biggest changes was the website, and we built the whole thing from the ground up. Everything was done to make it fit with the new branding. We had one color for each page, small rounded corners on the images, the symbols scattered around the web page, the fonts, of course, the logo. So now everything should be quite consistent with our branding. But it was a lot of job. It's not easy to make a website from the ground up, so I spent quite some weeks getting it ready.
We also made a sign that we put outside of the office for people who are passing by could see that we're here. The colors in the stairway didn't match perfectly with our colors, so here we just decided to have a monochrome sign, black and white. When you work with new people, like a design company, you suddenly end up with something that you never thought about. And I think that's really refreshing, because it's easy to just get into the same path, the same road, if you decide everything yourself.
I think the most important part of branding yourself is to really find the core of who you are and what you stand for.
If you can't afford hiring another company to help you out, just try to sit down with your colleagues or by yourself and try to figure out how you want people to look at your company. Are you the friendly neighbor? Are you the explorer? What kind of company are you?
So with this new branding, we of course wanted to make our own merch. So we didn't want to make merch that was very obvious that it was merch or obvious that it was tied to us. So we tried to make something that was a little bit more subtle. And I think it turned out really well. We got to incorporate our new colors, our symbols, but we also made some merch with the big VJUS logo in the back. So if you really love us, that's for you. If you're interested in the merch, it's on our website. Just go to vjus.no/merch and get yourself some cool new clothes. Also, in case you missed it, we actually made an entire YouTube video about this merch. We competed against each other to make the best clothing commercial possible in only 48 hours. So if you haven't seen it, make sure to check it out.
So this was the first episode of Making a Film Company in 2024. There are more episodes coming out very soon, so subscribe to stay tuned. And also we have a course which we are now almost giving away for free. You can pay from $5 and up, as much as you want. Follow the link in the description. And see you guys soon. Looking forward. Okay, ha det bra. How do you come up with and organize and produce videos for a client and make them happy when you are short on time? And we only had 2 weeks for this project.
The most fun part of the project was created inside of After Effects.
It turned out to be a headache for us.